when I'm not performing stand-up, I do a little bit of acting, and I actually got cast last year in a Hooters commercial. Yes, I know, sir. Hooters has gone downhill, right? Trust me, no one was more surprised than these gals. Y'all, I got cast as a customer. I walked in thinking, Mama still got it. And then they said, grab that 40-ounce beer and sit at that table and start drinking it.
We are Moms Unhinged, a nationally touring stand-up comedy show. Join us in our podcast as we explore everything from motherhood, midlife crisis, marriage, divorce, online dating, menopause, and other things that irritate us. Welcome, Emily.
Oh, thank you, Andrea. Hello. It's good to be here. Good to see your face.
Yes, I know. And we chit-chatted so long. We were like, oh, we should probably record
I
a
know.
podcast now.
Right.
So always fun. So Emily is one of our Atlanta-based comedians. She has been touring with Moms Unhinged, she does a lot of the hosting and opening and producing of the shows all over the country. So I am just so happy to have you on the team and that's what we were talking about. We just got talking about business so much. Yeah. So it's just can get away from us.
Yes, for sure.
And that is actually how I wanted to start the podcast. I wanted to talk about you have run several businesses while having a family. So let's talk about that. How have you done that? And tell us about the businesses that you have run while having a family.
Okay. So let's see. I was in advertising before having a business, like advertising sales. So I've always had that sort of entrepreneurial spirit because being like commission only sales is you're on your own.
Yeah.
And I like it. I'm really competitive with myself. And so it's always kind of part of me. My boyfriend at the time, now husband of a long time, we did improv theater in addition to our regular jobs in our 20s. And then we left the improv theater where we were, and a group of us decided we should start our own improv theater.
Because why not?
Because that's what you do, you know?
So easy. Just
so normal.
Improv theater.
So normal, right. But we were always like, what my husband always said, and I agree, is like as our friends and peers really started like sinking into their late 20s, early 30s, people was like, they do their job and then they go home at night and sit on the couch. Yeah. And that's not what we wanted to do. So we had the Village Theater. We closed 2 years ago, but we were in business for 12 or 13 years. I can't remember. I was one of the founders, but once we had kids, I stepped back a little bit naturally, just because, when we had our first daughter, we both would do, I would do a Friday and then he'd do a Saturday, but he was running a lot more the managing side of it as well, in addition to his regular job. Right. Crazy. Once we had our second daughter, it was like, something's going to give.
Yeah.
But because I'm also such a glutton for punishment, I didn't go back to work when our oldest was born, but I had just been having fun baking on the side. And, I like to use the scientific term, I got itchy. And so I decided to start a baking business also, because, every family needs two small businesses. Especially two small businesses as profitable as the food industry and live entertainment,
Just rolling in dough. You guys were just
100%, just normal 9-to-5 schedules, come home and eat dinner. Let's definitely not throw a pandemic with a 3-year-old in.
Oh my God.
So I started Jamella's Bakery. It is named after my great grandmother, and it was just cookie sandwiches.
Oh.
So very unhealthy, but very delicious.
Yeah.
So old-fashioned kind of cookies with different buttercream fillings. And it grew, it grew as much as I wanted it to. I am not as much of a risk taker as you are with business decisions. And so I grew slowly and was also had the kids at home. So it was certain times of the year, it was a lot more part-time. The holidays were insane. I did about, I don't know, half of my year in 2 weeks in December. So it was crazy.
Wow. And then you didn't have a store. You didn't have an actual storefront. You were.
No, I was really lucky. There was a place that had just opened. This was kind of the tail end of like the food truck explosion.
Right.
And so in Atlanta, there's a place called Prep, and they exist around the country. So it's commercial kitchens.
Okay.
So I rented commercial kitchen space. So I didn't have the overhead of a brick and mortar,
Right.
which I did not want, having had the overhead of the brick and mortar for the theater.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
it was good. I mean, it's expensive, but it was right for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Just sell cookies to the theater goers.
I did sell cookie sandwiches at the theater, definitely.
Smart.
Yeah, I mean, so I sold the cookie sandwiches. I started with some wholesale, coffee shops, that sort of thing. But my bread and butter was individual customers, and especially businesses. So gift boxes for their client list.
Right.
And so that really drew on my sales skills that I had had from doing advertising sales for so long,
Yeah.
which now full circle, doing stand up is still selling yourself.
Yeah.
And the kind of somewhat cheesy realization that I've made is like in my 20s, when I was doing advertising sales, I worked for a newspaper because I'm 1,000 years old. Yes, if you all don't know what a newspaper is, but it was a very cool weekly, free weekly newspaper. I know Boulder and Denver had those, or did have those back in the day.
Right.
No.
They'll survive on ads. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was like I was selling someone else's dream, so to speak.
Right.
And then I feel like in my 30s with the bakery, I was learning how to sell a product that was mine. But now doing stand up, I'm selling myself.
Yeah.
And I think there's a reason.
And you're a hot cookie.
Career has had that weird. What'd you say?
You're a hot cookie.
I'm a hot cookie. In fact, I'm a hot mess. But I don't think I would have had the confidence to do stand up in my 20s. Even though I did improv, I think I feel really lucky. There's days that I might go, oh, why didn't I start stand up earlier?
Right.
And then there's other days that I'm like, oh, thank God I did not start stand up any younger.
Yeah.
I don't know if that, I hope that resonates with people.
No, for sure. That's exactly how I feel. I feel like I didn't start stand up until until I was basically 40, but I did improv just like you. And so
Yeah.
it is a whole different mentality. And it is I don't know if I had the self-confidence to be able to withstand some of the
Right.
rejection you get.
Oh, yeah. And the thing, from doing, when you have rejection in improv, you've got a team to support you.
Yeah.
So it's
And you
easy.
can always blame someone else.
Oh, exactly. Oh, and I was the only woman. So it was when we started, it was rough. Not as we grew, it was beautiful because it ended up being half men, half women. But there's no way now if I have a bad show, all I say is, oh, what a gift. This is going to be a great story to tell later.
Right.
And I truly feel that way.
Yeah. Or I feel like I really worked out hard to,
Yes.
that was a learning lesson or whatever. And,
Yeah.
I have bombed pretty hard, but it's not fun.
No, it's not fun, but I don't think my mentality at 25 could have handled it compared to now.
For sure. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Something else I always think about I started stand up at 42. I started thinking I wanted to try it at about 40, but it took me till 42 because I'm not always a risk taker.
Yeah.
But my husband is very supportive and understands the love of performing. He said, I'm fully supportive. I don't understand. Like, you had the theater, you could have done anything the past 12, like you could have put on any show that you wanted to at the theater and try and we did have sketch and stand up there as well. And I was like, dude, I did not have creativity going through my bones when was nursing or pregnant or
Interesting.
experiencing, trouble with pregnancies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm my 30s, I really kind of lost that desire to perform even, you
Interesting.
know. Yeah. I mean, baking had creative elements. Oh, how to
Yeah.
market something, but that was really more probably just giving me time to sit and roll cookie dough balls and think about jokes that I now use.
Yeah. Yeah, but do you think that it was the just being, just everything in motherhood that was kind of sucking that, did you feel like it was just sucking creativity out of you, or that performance element just because you were so busy with the kids, or what do you think? It might have been something else, or?
I don't even know if I think when you're in survival mode, you're not even thinking about, I always say, if we're having a hard day, like, is this a survival day or a thriving day?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think so many years when the kids are young are survival days.
Right.
So I don't think I wasn't sitting at home going, oh man, I really wish I was performing.
Yeah.
I don't even think I wanted to be.
Right.
But as I approached 40 and the kids got a little more independent, I could feel it coming back. And I feel, I think in the beginning of stand-up, I made jokes like, oh, this is a midlife crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, it wasn't at all. It was just coming back to who I've always been, which is, I mean, I started doing theater in like 4th grade and fell in love with the stage.
Right. Right.
So I forget who said that. There's like some quote about becoming who you really are is just the clay and taking away the bits to create, like the sculpture is already
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
For sure. It's underneath there.
so yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of,
And it's
yeah.
it's interesting because performing and stand up in particular do take a lot of energy. It's a lot of giving to the audience. Like, I couldn't imagine, like you said, just wanting to, after a long day where the kids are up at 5:30 in the morning, wanting to
Yeah.
go out and have the energy to perform. Although there are times where I wish I had started when they were young, because I was like, oh, all that material.
I don't- That is definitely also true. But it's my oldest is a old soul, and when I really started getting into stand up, they made an observation which was really sweet, which was like, before when you would have to, if you had to leave to go bake, you would be kind of bummed that you had to be away from us. And now, like, you're so happy, and it's so happy to watch you like succeed.
Oh, that's so nice. I
Yeah.
love that. What a
And
gift.
yeah, it's really, and even though they're 13, they're very into writing. They're a huge reader, and they're very into writing, and I mean, I get jealous of how much they write. I'm like, I haven't written a new joke in weeks, And they're like, have playlists on Spotify for, oh, today I'm working on character development, so I'm listening to this Spotify playlist. I'm like, oh my God, I have a lot. But we talk a lot about like goals and that sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? I think deep down too, if I'm being really honest, I'm better at stand up than I ever was at improv. And when I think back to my improv days, the things that I really excelled out had to do with like face out games and audience interaction stuff, and stuff that really translates to doing stand up now.
So you ventured out into doing stand up after doing improv. Did your husband ever try stand up?
Stand up? No.
No.
No. And to be honest, it's interesting because I mean he was very good at improv and good at running the theater, but the theater closed about 2.5 years ago. So about a little less than a year into me starting. And he's been so relieved to only have the one
The
job.
day job. Yeah. So you
And
guys, so you were running that. He had a day job, you had a bakery, and you were running the theater. That is just incredible. How did you even have time to
I don't
parent?
know. I don't know. I mean, the bakery was not full time.
Yes.
I mean, parts of the time of the year, it definitely was, but
Right.
it got to a place, I have no idea. And both of us are like, why did we do that to ourselves? You know? And the other thing, I mean, we were really lucky. Both sets of our parents were somewhat local.
Yeah.
And so we did have some support, which was really nice. But
Right.
the other reason I was like, I could feel myself not like, let me put it this way. If I was making a lawyer's salary with the bakery, I may have kept doing it, but I wasn't. So it's like, if I'm not super, super
Yeah.
thrilled about it, what is it? It's not worth it, you know?
Right.
And so it was easy to like step away from, but I knew once I started doing stand up that like I fall in love with it every day.
Yeah.
So I don't know how we did it. And the other thing is like, we closed the theater and I closed the bakery, you know, right when our parents were really starting to have more health issues too. And so that was another impetus in me starting stand up because it was like I had the urge and I'm like, if I don't start now, we're going to have so much going on helping out with grandparents.
Right.
And I don't think I'm going to be able to get in good habits to
Yeah.
do stand up. Whereas now, we can have something rough happen and I can still pull it together to have a good set that night.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. If you're so scattered, it's hard to even think. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We were so silly.
Yeah.
I mean, we put a lot of other things on hold that we're trying to kind of work on now. So,
Yeah, but it sounds like it seems like you're raising really creative kids if they're doing all this stuff too. And it's probably really helped to have them see you and your husband go after things in that way, you know?
yeah, they're both probably too independent, not independent, like take care of themselves, but like they know their place in the world and what they want to do in the world. And for me, well, my oldest is non-binary now, but is a, female. So, have two females, like my driving, my North Star or whatever you want to call it is never having kids in the house, having my daughters feel like I am resentful. And I think that's something that previous generations, I think our generation had to deal with that, that sort of unspoken resentment by previous generations, not necessarily being able to kind of go after what they wanted.
Right, right. We have a lot of different freedoms now that we
Yeah.
didn't have, and our parents were maybe more limited, especially the
women.
especially the moms,
Yeah.
they were- yeah.
And I feel really, I'm not perfect, Blair's not perfect, but we he's very understanding because of having had the theater for so long. He understands the characters and the ups and downs, and he's good sometimes at, being like, "Ooh, that's not something you should do. That's not worth your time," or that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And because he is he is behind the theater days. He's fine being at home with the kids at night. Like there's no jealousy. He doesn't want to. He's getting older. He doesn't want to be out at night. So it's, I had another friend in comedy that said, and she's in her 50s, and she said, "It's my turn to be the gardener. I'm sorry, it's my turn to be the flower, not the gardener."
Oh, yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, whoa. that's good.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm in my 50s now, and it does feel like it's like this age where you get to like be more confident, the kids are older. You've got like this really great time of life, I think, and
Yeah.
we're
And feel less guilty,
yeah, feel less guilty because the kids are
Right.
doing their own things, and that for sure that helps, and you can just be like, hey, I need this. This is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think them seeing me very, I'm always struggled with the stay at home guilt versus not stay at home. And there's times that I want to be both and I try to be both. And I give myself a lot more grace now than I used to
Yeah.
about that. And I think, if I am traveling for shows, then I mean, I do make a point to then, be at home with them and that sort of thing. But again, I'm lucky right now because they really don't want to be around me all that much. Until they do,
Right, right. That is that's a little silver lining to the teenage years is if they don't want to be around you, you you
Yeah.
get a lot more free time.
Well, and I have known women that are older that felt really lost, even that they're working full time, they feel really lost once their kids are gone. If you don't have something
Right.
that you're in love with doing, whether it's a hobby or professional,
Right. For
I
sure.
mean, I think you and I both kind of operate that way,
Yeah. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of kid in a candy.
Yeah.
I love to take a
Yeah.
kid in a candy store approach to life.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. That is great.
Yeah.
It's all delicious.
What about you though? I mean, am I allowed to act like I know this
No,
is
no, no. I
okay?
don't. Can't ask me questions. This is no, but I do want to find out how did you? So you had the idea of getting into comedy a couple years. You'd already done improv, so you're good on stage. You're not afraid of being on stage. What started you then? Did you take a class? Was it did you just go out to open mics? How did you really get started in comedy?
So I, at the very beginning, I think the idea started being in the back of my head, maybe in my late 30s. And I honestly don't know. I don't know what put stand up in my mind, but I turned 40 and then the pandemic happened. And that first week, my initial, like literally the first week, my initial thought was, oh my gosh, I want to put a sign outside in our front yard, almost like a tweet that's just kind of funny, kind of sweet, whatever. And it was just my like immediate thought was, okay, I'm going to we're live in a really walkable neighborhood. So people are always walking their dogs or running or whatever. And so I put it out on a board and then I decided to change it every day. And I did this for about a year and a half.
Oh my gosh.
And it became this thing where that's what really woke me up to, oh my gosh, you have missed being creative, making people smile, making people laugh. It just reawakened my soul, honestly.
Right.
And sometimes it was hard, but it almost like started a writing habit because like Blair would joke, it would be like 8:30 in the morning and he'd be like, you haven't changed your sign yet and there's people walking by. You need to change it for today. And he would tease me like, oh, there's a fan coming. Like people would leave me like gift certificates and stuff. It was really because they were like, we depend on this sign during these like really crazy times.
That's like choking me up a little because like
Oh, thanks.
just realizing the power we have just to make someone smile and that
Yeah.
someone looks forward to it and that you're really serving a need. Sometimes it feels like, what is comedy? Is that a real job?
Yeah.
It really does help people get through the day a lot of times. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
And I think too, it also helped me like go, okay, you know what? there could be some kind of judgmental moms down, like, that see it and think, God, Maggie and Lucy's mom is so weird, but it made me like forget about that kind of critic, because that's, I feel like I look like I would be that kind of person, but I'm such a theater kid and such a goofy weirdo, really when it comes down to it. And I think doing that sign may be like, no, 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 this is my purpose, and I don't go to church. I went to church growing up. I'm not really practicing now. I've confused thoughts on where I stand with God, but I have said, like, when I did improv, it was like I never felt closer to a God than when I was standing on stage. Even if I was telling a dick joke, like, I still feel like I'm doing my spiritual calling. So yeah, so I think I did the sign, and then I was just like, okay, I got to try it. And so I signed up for an open mic at Laughing Skull Lounge, and theirs is great because you get a date like 4 weeks out. And I'd already been kind of writing, and
You had all your signs, all your
yeah,
sign
yeah,
one-liners.
exactly. And then it was just kind of, yeah, started doing the open mics, and then kind of tiptoed into it, but loved it. And then about a year in, I did take a class. I took the Lace Larrabee's class, which, has made stand up amazing for women in Atlanta, or as amazing as stand up can be for women. Um, and then just hit the ground running.
Yeah, I love that. That's so
Yeah.
great. I love that origin story. How amazing. What a great way
Thanks.
to get into it and realize that creative piece needed to come out. And it is, I think, creativity and the self-expression is so underrated, and we really as humans need it, and
Mm-hmm.
in whatever way it comes out, baking or performing or art or writing something, it just is so critical to our mental health and our being able to be good parents even. So
Oh, so I mean, and I see that with my girls so much. We'll do something that's more like, I don't know if your boys had these little things when they were young. They're called perler
oh
beads.
yeah, yeah,
And my youngest, who is a consumer beyond all consumers, is always thinking of something new that I need to get her. And
yeah,
I'm like, you already have so many arts and crafts. We don't need more. Like, I mean,
yeah.
she sews, she whatever. And she was like, but mom, she's like, this activity is like so calming. And I'm like, all right, you sold me. You sold me.
So I know my kids
Sold.
at some time points are factories of that. Like they did those iron things, those little beads that you'd iron and
That's it.
make.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, they'd churn those out. I had stacks of them, but I'm like, hey, if it's keeping you occupied, let's go.
Yeah.
Uh, so let's. Do you have any unhinged moments where you just kind of lost your mind a little bit, or something happened with the kids? I'd love to hear a little
Oh, God.
unhinged story.
Well, I mean, I always think about in kindergarten when my youngest told her kindergarten teacher how I'm always on my cell phone when I'm driving. That was good. That was really nice to learn about.
The
Yeah, I
teacher came
mean,
to you and said, "Hey, I think."
yeah, uh-huh. And the even bigger irony being that there's a program in Georgia like Safe Routes to School, so it kind of promotes like bike safety and walking safety, and I was a part of it at the elementary school, and we would do skits and stuff. So I'm like promoting safety yet, deep down. No, I mean, there were so many unhinged moments. Like, I think the worst, I mean, really with the bakery, it's so grueling and you work so long and you're on your feet and all that stuff. I remember one time, like, it's probably during the holidays, like, I hadn't gotten to eat and I'm like a habitual, like, I want my breakfast, lunch, dinner. And, um, I needed to get home to pick up a kid, but I hadn't eaten all day. And it was just, it was like my bones hurt. I was so tired and I didn't have time to heat up. I had brought a frozen burrito, but I didn't have time to heat it up. So I ate a hard rock frozen burrito while going to pick up a child,
Just gnawing on it.
just gnawing. Like you can't taste any flavor in it, Yeah.
That's rough.
That's rough. Yeah. And I don't know if you're like this as you get older, but it's like, I value rest so much more. I don't have that capacity for like crazy amounts of stress the way I used to do. I mean, I don't know if you just had, I don't know. It used to be like an adrenaline thrill to do that.
Right. I relate to that too, where it was just like, boom, 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 I'm getting it all done. And now I'm like, I think I'm going to try and get 2 things done today.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just allow myself, like, you don't have to be bone tired in order to take a break.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But that's just, again, kind of not how I was raised.
Yeah. Well, Emily, this has just been so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for being in my life, and you've just made comedy so much better, and you took a chance on me, and I love getting to grow with you.
Yeah, no, you are wonderful. I'm so grateful to have you on the team. I just know that I'm like, oh, thank God Emily's got it. She's got everything handled. And I think, especially with your business background, I think, you get it. You understand all the pieces that
big
have
piece
to be
of it,
Yeah. So thank you for all of that. And why don't you tell the listeners where they can find you, follow you, get a hold of you for all that?
I'll get a sexy OnlyFans page. No, I'm joking. Definitely not. No. EmilyHoldenComedy.com is my website, or on Instagram at Emily D. Holden, or at an upcoming Moms Unhinged show.
Yeah. Lots of shows coming up. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Andrea. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening, and make sure you subscribe, share, and follow us on the socials to get more comedy clips.